Talking about the use of a meeting room and video conferencing facilities. So in this scenario, you as the presenter, you're live on video, you're live on audio, of course, optional. You could take your video off if you want. You can share files. And in this environment also, your participants can do the same. So your participants can share the videos, they can share the files, but it's not going to be as simple as that, because if it's an environment like Zoom, all your participants can share independently. And that definitely is going to be a source of challenge in terms of managing your room and sometimes managing the security involved in the room. Devices and connectivity. Not that they don't have one at home, but we're at home as parents, we have children, and other teachers are scheduling classes, some of them at the same time. We have clashes, we have husband and wives all trying to use a limited amount of devices per home. So that's going to be a factor. And then what some of us experiencing right here this evening, which is connectivity. Connectivity, we are having challenges because there's so many people in the region that's trying to go online one time. And then, of course, would everyone be available at the same time? Because one of the things we realized when we started to poll students in Trinidad is that not always teachers are collaborating and working with a timetable as in school. So sometimes we're having clashes in timetables and so on. And then availability of the device, of course. And then the one we really want to focus on a lot today is knowledge-based capacity, knowledge base of the teachers, but understand also the students. There are some basic to-dos they need to know to maximize their experience. And another thing we see happening is within the same ecosystem, within the same school, sometimes within the same class, different teachers are using different platforms. Not as good or bad, but remember, the more broad spectrum we have, the use of platforms is the more difficult the learning curve will be for the children. And then, of course, management. This is a huge one. Management of a live classroom when you have so many students, which would lead, of course, to security. Huge issue. Zoom has been a lot highlighted in media, both in the Caribbean and otherwise, in terms of security issues. What we have found is a lot of the security issues, and we have a whole video on that. I don't know how much of it we'll play today, but definitely look at that over and over. A lot of the security issues is simply because we are not doing our homework and setting up the room properly. And then, of course, engagement. How can we engage students? It's not a live session. Making that class engaging. Interactive. Next week's session is going to be all about making your sessions interactive, having students communicate, do stuff back and forth. And then how can you do group sessions, like little group sessions within your students? Zoom is fantastic for that with respect to breakout rooms. There are other platforms with also breakout rooms. A really cool one, I think it's new, I'm not sure, but a really cool one is remote control, where you could pull a child up on a board like you do right in the class and have the child do stuff. We're going to talk some about that. And underused facilities, the chat. A lot of times when we have sessions, the chat is for socializing, which is okay, it's good, but the chat is an extremely good tool where you can use it, you as a teacher or you as a presenter, to be very specific and private chat, private message, private send files to individual participants, and they can do otherwise, or definitely you can also send to everyone. And what can you use chat for? Share links, share files. We'll do some of that today. Be able to give responses specific to answers or feedback, or just communicate with people like what's happening now with Kevin and some of y'all who might be having audio and video issues, to just help try and guide the process. What are the options out there in terms of platforms? There's a whole bunch of them. The common ones, of course, would be what you perhaps would have known before as Google Hangout, now known as Google Meet. It has been rebranded, and recently they're putting a whole bunch more features in Google Meet. Then there's GoToMeeting, there's Microsoft Teams, there's WebEx, and there's Zoom. We are going to focus this session on Zoom, bearing in mind about 80% of what we're going to speak about to maximize your session is available in the other platforms. What I'll do on the file that you'll download has this link here. This is from PCMag. It was recently done. I think it was in April of this year, where what they did is they did a comparison at this point in time of the features between the three more popular ones, which will be Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meet. And if you want to go in there and get a comparison of the different features, the pros and cons, price points, and all of these things, this is a good place to start. And then, of course, there's another really good link from TechRadar that we'll send to you that does a comparison of about 8 or more different platforms. So let's move on now to the next part of, so we understand, okay, there's an environment, live environment. The first thing we're going to deal with is the concern of most people, which is how do we maximize what is going out there?
In a virtual environment, however, it's a whole different ballgame. In a virtual environment, there's no face-to-face interaction. And what we need to do is actually focus on different areas to maximize the experience of our participants. So one of the important areas we need to focus on is video. Bearing in mind, when we are interacting virtually with our participants, they are seen as through a device on a screen. So we need to employ different techniques to enhance how we appear on the screen. Of course, audio is also important. How are the participants hearing us? Are they hearing us clearly, or are they straining to understand what we are saying? And we definitely need to minimize background noise. And of course, another focus is aesthetics and background. Aesthetics is generally how we appear on screen. We need to focus on our appearance. What are we wearing? How is our hair? And in the case of ladies, is our makeup natural if we are wearing makeup? Background is generally what people see, what the participants see behind us. It should be neat and tidy, and there should not be stuff that we do not want the public to see behind us. And of course, another area of focus is distractions. We have to bear in mind that in this environment we are working off home, and at home we have our spouse, we have children, we have pets, and all these can be distracting in the background especially. So we want to take care to minimize these distractions. And we are going to go into some details into these now. So when we speak about video, it's how we appear on the screen, and there are so many tips that could help us to enhance how we look on the screen. And the first one is our lighting, and lighting is so very important. We have lighting, we have our camera angle, our eye level angle, and of course how far from the camera do we sit, our distance from the camera.
And then of course the background is really important also.
So when it comes to lighting, natural lighting is always the best source of light. That's natural sunlight. So what we recommend is actually having a table facing a window where you have natural light coming in, and you can have your laptop, your phone, or whatever your device you are using placed there on a table facing the window, because natural lighting is always the best lighting, and it really lights up your face so that participants can get a clear view of your image on the screen.
Of course, not always. It might be ideal in your environment to sit, opposite a window. But if that is not the case, because some people have desktops, and remember, it's a shared environment at home, what you could probably use is a simple lamp, works quite well. And if the lamp is too bright on your face, just take a thin piece of white cloth and sort of drape it between you and the lamp, and you get a really nice white diffused lighting. So that definitely could work. Now, the key thing is where you're going to position that lighting.
Of course, when we have the light source positioned above us or at the back of us, we should really avoid these positions. As you can see in the red area here, those are positions that we need to avoid: backlighting and above lighting.
Now, sometimes with backlighting, we don't realize it might be the light source you are using, but sometimes you don't realize that just above your head, might have two lamps on the ceiling or whatever else, and that could really, really throw a cast a shadow.
And this is what happens with backlighting. In the image on the left, we have the lighting coming from the back, and it's just showing like a silhouette. And of course, on the right is diffuse lighting coming from the top, which is casting so many shadows.
Kev, quick one. Are you seeing us still?
Yes, you're still on.
All right, great. Every now and then, just give my feedback because I'm not sure, right? And
No
as the
problem.
lighting showing here, we're working in the dark right now, sort of. So excellent example here of what backlighting does. So how do you really set up your lighting?
So your light source should always be placed in front of you, and that is behind your camera. And that is the perfect lighting for doing your videos and for enhancing your appearance on the screen.
Here's a quick example. Without changing the light source, but just looking at changing the camera angle, look at what happens to the lighting on Sugan's face.
So we start off with direct lighting in front, and then as I move away from the light, you can see shadows being created on different parts of my face until when the light source is at the back of me, it's totally dark. All you can see is a silhouette. So that's how lighting plays a huge part in our video.
So if you're going to do any kind of video conferencing, I would say the number one thing you need to get right is your lighting. Because going on a video conference and your lighting is like what it is right now really, really, really takes away.
And of course, camera angle is another thing we need to really look at. First of all, we need to locate the camera on our device. Make sure you know where that camera is, whether it's a phone you're using, a laptop or a desktop. Make sure and identify that camera first. And what is the best camera angle? We do not want our camera to be too low, neither too high. And this is an example here of what happens when our camera is too low. Actually, our whole face looks distorted like in the picture here. And you get a close-up view. You come face to face with the person's nostril when the camera is too low.
Definitely not what you want your students or participants to see you looking like. What you want is to be straight in line with the camera and getting your face to appear as straight as possible. So you're not, I mean, as teachers, some of us are probably over the 30, 40, maybe 50 age, and you don't want to be showing the sags under your neck and the guys, the hair coming out your nose and all of that. That's not the focal point you want at all. What you might want to do.
What you might want to do if your camera is too low, a simple trick is just place some books or a box under your laptop, and this can give you the height that is needed for your camera to be the correct height.
Correct. Important to note, people could only see what your camera is showing them. So all the little frills you got to do on the side, I mean, nobody's going to see that. Next important point.
Eyeline angle. Of course, remember, we have to have our students engaged, and the only way we can have our students engaged is if it seems as if we are looking at them directly. So we need to be facing the camera at all times.
A lot of times people tend to mistake the screen because, you know, you're looking at the person, perhaps they're interacting with you, and you tend to look at yourself or you look at the screen. But the camera is your audience, not the screen. So always you just got to get the habit of trying to look at the camera. And if you don't,
this is an example of what happens if you're looking down, as in the picture on the left, you're looking down at the screen, probably at yourself on the screen or other participants, and this is what it looks like. Your eyes appear closed and there is no connection and no engagement going on there, as opposed to the picture on the right where I am looking directly at the screen and there is definitely engagement and connection.
And at the screen here means looking directly at the camera, right? Because a lot of times we get captured that. Kev, are we all good? Anything in the chat I need to respond to?
Yeah, we're looking good. We just had one question. Someone's asking about a separate camera, using a high depth camera. I'm not sure what that is.
All right, definitely. I mean, if you have the device at home, you want to use a separate camera, it's always better quality than the camera in your laptop. So definitely a separate camera. If you plan to do a lot of video conferencing and price point could afford it, I would recommend getting a better quality camera than that in your laptop. So our next huge point now is
distance from your camera. How far from your camera do you sit? If you are too close to your camera, then again your face appears too large and distorted. So you want to have that proper distance between yourself and your camera.
A huge point to remember is that with a camera, the closer you get to the camera, the bigger the image will appear. A lot of people do a video conference call and they use the same keyboard that's on the laptop by the camera, and then they will stick their hands forward to type, right? But this is what your audience is going to see when we do stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of distortion there. You want to avoid these kind of, especially if you're a teacher, you want to avoid these kind of things in terms of your kids. Same thing with your face. You lean forward to talk, your face is going to look distorted.
And of course, we spoke about background earlier, and we have had some bloopers on Zoom when it comes to background. But again, we want to avoid clutter. We want our background to be as neat as possible. Sometimes you have to do like Kevin, he does, and actually stage your bookshelf in the background, make it look neat and tidy. So this is what is something that is pleasant to the eyes of the participants who are looking at us. Of course, draping a piece of cloth behind you could work as a green screen, and that could be a simple background that you are using for your sessions.
Quickly now, audio. So video, we got a clear enough picture in terms of what is required. Audio is pretty simple. Watch your microphone volume before you set up. And the most important thing, look at the background noise. I mean, sometimes you just can't have the cars passing or the dog barking, but the ones I can't understand a lot of time with people is having their television sets on and other things happening whilst they're on a conference call.
And of course, we spoke about distractions because we are working in an environment where we are at home. And as we said before, you have your spouse, your children, and your pets to deal with, and all of these are distractions.
And then, of course, when we're dealing with connectivity, try and minimize other stuff happening, try and fight the games of the kids and the husband and the wife during this session. Let's improve that. So quickly, have a checklist. Before you start your session, check yourself, set up a Zoom meeting and watch how you are looking. Make sure you are looking good, sounding good, your background is okay, and inform your family members, hey, we're going to have something that's happening before it actually starts happening. Camera and show you all. This is where the wife part comes in. It's just a piece of green cloth. Permission here? It's just a piece of green cloth, and I'm going to lift my camera and show you. You're not going to like this. So I'm going to show you. It's just a piece of green cloth that hook up with some close clips, right? But put that piece of green cloth there and make sure your camera angle is not picking up all your close clip and people on the side and so on. And all of a sudden I have a professional green screen. There's a piece of cloth hanging in the back there. I didn't answer your question yet. The question is, how do you keep distance? Now, you just got to look at yourself and know. There should always be some distance between your head and the top of the camera. It might not need to be so much, but because Sugan and I, we are sharing the same camera this evening because we don't want the double bandwidth requirements. And then there's also opportunity to sit close to her. This distance here is a bit too much, but what you want to do is have some distance from your head. And definitely you never want to get your face cut like this or your face big like this. So we should have some space on the side, on both sides. I'm too far off here because we're sharing, but like about this height. So in terms of distance, there's no ideal distance per se, but you want to look good, right? I mean, if you have a few extra freckles coming up a little further from the camera, if you're wearing makeup and stuff, but you want to be a comfortable distance. And next key thing to sometimes to want to do, sometimes if you're close up and you're doing, notice how the camera is going off and on, right? So I am losing the focus in my camera by too much movement. It's coming back on right now. And then sometimes when you're presenting, you don't want to get your hand big up front, but just gesticulation, you might want to have it there. Sorry, I didn't answer your question, but you got to play with what is best for you. Any other questions, Kev, before we move on?
Okay, so for everyone who's asking about Zoom questions, we'll address those in a little while. So I'm basically ignoring those questions. Don't feel offended, but we will be answering a lot of those Zoom questions, Zoom-related questions, in a little bit.
Someone is asking about the virtual background. Zoom is really easy to throw on a virtual background. We'll show you some of that stuff just now. So then Judith is asking about the color of your clothes. You want to deal with that one?
Okay, yeah, we omitted that in terms of clothes when we were speaking. But when you are doing a video, you want your clothes to be as far as possible a solid color and not any kind of pattern or small pattern which could be too confusing. Stripes and prints and so on could be confusing and difficult to focus on. So a solid color is always the best. Of course, you wear appropriate clothing. You know, whatever the students, if you're teaching a class, whatever the students are accustomed seeing you in, that is fine for your Zoom video.
Right. So what's happening is a video that Kevin did on how to set up a Zoom account from scratch. In the file that you're going to download just now, there's a link to our YouTube channel, which we just started to put up some videos for all these sessions. So if you don't have a Zoom account, you can just click on that and Kevin step-by-step explains how to set up a Zoom account. Right, so Kev, we're going to bypass that. All yours.
On scheduling a Zoom meeting. Okay, it's going to go kind of quick. Like Rad said, you can get the video link and play it at your own pace. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to schedule a Zoom meeting. We go to zoom.us if you're not already signed in, and go click sign in using the email and password that you have already. Okay, so go ahead and put in your email and password, click sign in again. Now on the left hand side you'll see profile, meetings, webinars. Go to the meetings tab. So it'll bring up where you can schedule that meeting. So schedule a new meeting, you click that, or you can click schedule a meeting to the top. This will always been there. Great, so we're going to change the topic of the meeting. So you're putting something that's appropriate. In this instance, we put my first meeting, and you can put an optional description. Great. Importantly, we set the date and time of the meeting. So we put the 29th at 2:30 p.m. and the meeting is for an hour. Well, Zoom gives you 40 minutes on the free session. Next, we are going to check the time zone, make sure the time zone is okay. Looking for Caracas, Guyana, La Paz, any one of those. Set those, right? Everything else should be okay. The only last thing we want to do is make sure that your host video is off and participants video is also off. And then finally, you want to mute your participants upon entry. Okay? And now you also have the option to record that meeting and save. Go to My Meetings, make sure that meeting is there. And that's it. You've just created your first Zoom meeting.
There's nothing straight off.
Right, and setting up the Zoom account setting up a meeting account for meetings, really quick. In 2 minutes, you could set up a meeting. Some of the things we didn't go over, like was setting up recurring meetings, but once you start going into those settings and doing it over and over, you will get the hang of it. So I want to run a short video on settings and security. This is a big one. I think a lot of the chat was dealing with that. So we're gonna start that now. So it'll go quick, but pay attention. Like I said, this video you can play it over.
So first I want to make some changes to my profile information. That includes your name, information such as your phone number, department, job title, location, stuff like that. So I'll fill that in, click Save Changes. Then I want to change my profile picture. When my video is muted, that's what shows, that profile picture. So for now I'm just going to have it as the RSC logo. Go ahead and save that. Next, we want to go and look at time zones. Make sure your time zone is correct. Once you set it up here, it'll be set for all meetings. Also, you want to check your date formats if that's important to you, and whether you're on 12 or 24 o'clock. Save changes and continue. Then we go to passwords. I'll show the area where you can change your password if you need to. I'm not going to right now, but this is where you can do that. Next, we want to go to settings. So when I go to settings, first thing I want to do with settings I want to turn off all the cams. So I want my video off as well as the participants' video. So that'll be the default from now. Next thing I'm going to look at is I want to mute participants on entry. That helps with the background noise. Then we go further down and we're going to make sure the chat is enabled. Moving again. I have sounds playing when people join or leave the meeting, which is good for me. Right. Great. So next we're going to look at screen sharing. You definitely want that on. So you can show your PowerPoint presentations or PDFs, whatever you need to share with your students. You can also have them share their screens as well. But it's advised to closely monitor them to make sure what they are sharing. And if you need to take back control, you go ahead and do that. Just be very careful with it. Go ahead and save that feature. Annotation whiteboards. You want those on. Right? Those are great tools to have, as well as remote control is a nice feature to have on as well. Right, the next feature I'm going to look at is allowing participants to rename themselves. It's a nice handy feature as well. Make sure that's on. Next feature we want to talk about is breakout rooms. If you are going to use them, you need to set them up from here. You can't turn on breakout rooms from inside when the meeting is on already, okay? Virtual backgrounds, that's a personal choice. I personally don't want to have them on. Takes up a lot of memory sometimes. Last feature we will talk about is waiting rooms. I like to have that on so I could see who's coming into that meeting. And that'll do for settings.
Nice.
All right, so lots and lots and lots of, yes, Sudan is gone temporarily. Lots and lots of questions, right?
Good questions, yeah.
I would like to ask, there are quite a number of people in this session. You're pretty already good in Zoom. Would you help us answer the questions on the chat a bit? If you see a question that you know the answer to, go ahead and put it on chat. Thank you. So some of the things people were asking, Kevin, if I bring it back there, quickly that we can deal with this. Number one, how do you send the invite? After you set up the meeting, how do you get that invite onto participants?
Right, so we're going to cover that in the next video. There's actually a link to copy that link. You can copy that link from inside your web page or from the Zoom app. And again, we'll be covering that in about 5 minutes.
Right. Next quick question, recurring meeting. How do you set up a recurring meeting?
Okay, so after you set up that meeting, there's a little checkbox right below. It's right in the settings that you could check the recurring meeting. When you do that, though, you'll have to set up when that meeting recurs, whether it's every week, every day, every month, whatever. So just be prepared to have that set up and ready to go.
All right, there's one here that caught me a lot in the beginning, right? Kimon is asking, how do you ensure that the video you shared, and I'm assuming it's a share screen here, the audio plays? Zoom has a little hiccup there, Kev, with the little click button on play. Want to explain that one?
With the audio, I think he said he was using a phone. So I think that's the same question.
Okay, if it is not a phone, but when you share your audio on a screen or you share video on a screen share, your audio will not be transmitted. At the bottom of the share screen, we might show it in a video just now. There's a little, there's a button to tick that says share computer audio. And if you don't tick share computer audio, your video will be playing away and your participants will not hear that video. Anything else? How do you deal with unwanted persons in the meeting? Great question. That's going to be covered just on our security video.
Well, I covered that a little bit. Just to go back to the meeting rooms. That's why we set the meeting rooms on. Make sure that in your settings, you set that meeting room, the waiting room,
Waiting room, correct?
Yeah, so once that's on, people coming into that have a waiting area, and you can actually see that. So the next video will show will show where you have to actually allow them into the room. So if it's somebody that you're not sure about, or if the name isn't somebody that you recognize, remember people can change names accordingly as well. You have the option to remove them from your meeting before they even get it to cause problems.
All right, a quick question here. How do you make someone a co-host? That is not possible in the free version. From what I know, I don't know if an upgrade came out soon, but it's only in the paid version. I think that paid version is like about $14 US a month. You allow co-hosts, but I don't think on the free you allow co-hosts.
Well, we're covering that in the next video. We'll actually see where we could, from a free session, we can make another person a host.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, you can't make them the co-host. You could only switch the hosts.
You cannot.
Yeah.
All right.
You can't make them a co-host. You could only switch them to the host.
Okay, let me clear that. You can or you cannot.
You cannot have more than one host on the free version. Yeah.
On the free version, but I know in the paid version you can have like 20, 30. It's a lot.
Yeah, as many people as you want. We set up that.
All right, we're going to take 2 quick timeouts right now. The first one is I'm going to throw a quick, just to get you in and engaged. Let's have an idea where you are right now in terms of your Zoom skill level. So I'm going to bring up an offer here. Let's understand how this is going to work. When you click on this offer, you're going to come out of the webinar screen. Don't panic. Fill out the question. It might be a slider bar question. Let me just check that. Yeah, it could be whatever it is, slider bar maybe. And fill out the question and then come back to the Zoom screen and I'll share the answers with everyone. If you're using a phone, you might, what happened here? You're out of the meeting, but you're not out of the meeting. Just go back and you'll come back into the meeting, right? So the question is, I'm going to ask you how to rate your Zoom skill level. So an offer is going to come up on your phone. You just click on the click here and it's going to bring you up into a Mentimeter poll that's asking you. Now your name on your chat, Kev will be able to see it. I will not be able to see it. So I'm just switching. So when I share my screen, you will now be able to see what people are responding. So far we had 39 people responded. It's a slider that's giving, I'm just giving you a quick demonstration on how you can start having your participants engage and having them interactive. So we had 74 people responded so far. I'm looking at those who are not responding right now, who just ran to the washroom or ran to get a cup of water or something else. We are watching you. 118, 126, it keeps going up, excellent. Once you've responded, come back to the main screen and you will see the responses and you'll see how it's going. We're gonna give it like about 30 seconds again.
So the link for the offer should still be up if you're not seeing it. It should come up right and you should have a button to press it. Right on where the chat is.
Yeah, so if you didn't get it, just look at your under the chat, you should see the link there. All right, so at this point, whether you got it or not, just come back to the main screen so we can move on. I just want you to look at the results.
And for those who are using their mobile devices, just remember to press the back button to get back to the webinar jam.
All right, so Kev, are you seeing my screen?
Yeah.
All right, great. So I'm going to stop the offer now. We have 383 people responded. Hopefully most of you all are back. But if you look at this is an excellent way to get your participants interacting with you. In this particular one, we didn't ask for names, but if I'm going to scroll across so you could see the responses. 135 people plus said that they're great at setting up Zoom meetings, and we had like about 89 who's pretty poor, maybe they didn't do it they didn't do it as yet. And this kind of responses when you're doing sessions, this is really great data capture stuff that you will save if you want to, when we show you how to use Mentimeter, and you could download it and so on. I see we have a lot of people who don't know about the virtual background or the breakout rooms, which we would probably look at just now. So I think we're back in the room, screen sharing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good question. Someone asked what's the difference between a webinar and a meeting.
All right. So something like Zoom. Zoom has what is called a video conferencing facility, as would Google Meet and WebEx.
Right, so I got some connectivity issues from Raj. So actually what we're in right now, Webinar Jam, is a webinar. Webinar doesn't really allow you to have as much interaction. You have to pay a premium price for the Zoom webinar feature. And it's not really needed for your purposes.
Correct. And you see the power of having a co-host there, because my internet just dropped and came back on, throw me out of the room, bring me back in. So I assume you answered the question, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're back. Thanks. Of course, going out and it meant I lost all my chat, right? So here what we're going to do right now. All right, so we're back on. Kevin's still exercising.
Are you refreshed now? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important when you are having sessions, either with yourself or anybody else. You really don't want to sit behind a device for an hour, hour and a half. You need to get up, you need to stretch, get the energy flowing, and find a way. If it's a Zoom call and if it's your personal class, it's a closed room type environment, meaning you're all strangers, and have them put on their cameras and you're all stretching together and doing stuff together and whatever else together. Okay. So Kev, you're gonna go on to the next one now, or you're going to handle some more?
Just a couple questions. We have again. Lydia asked, how do you prevent students from coming in and out of the meeting rooms? Again, there's no way to really stop them from exiting the room, but that's just something you have to monitor as a teacher at your own classes, right? You can, again, if they come back in and you have that waiting room set up, again, it's for their benefit, for their learning. Again, that's something that's a decision that you'll have to make at your as a school administrator level.
Right.
Right. And nice question. How do you share your Zoom link via WhatsApp? We use WhatsApp Web. All of us use WhatsApp Web on our computers, on our desktops or laptops. So we just copy that link once we set up Zoom. Or if you can actually set up the controls for your mobile, if you have Zoom on your mobile, are on the same on your laptop or on the web, right? So when you actually in the app, you can actually go into your app on the phone, the Zoom app on the phone, and pull the data that you need. Pull the link. I'll do a video for that later this week, and I'll post that up on the YouTube channel for you guys. So you could put that, pull the link copy it from your phone app or the mobile app, and then paste it into your WhatsApp. So there are two ways to do it. One, you use WhatsApp Web, and the other way you just use from the app itself. So if you actually can set up the meeting from your app, your Zoom app as well, on your mobile device. Okay.
All right, a quick one here. Someone was asking if something like Mentimeter can be used in Zoom. It's the same thing that Kevin explained there. Once you set up a Mentimeter account and you have a Mentimeter question you want to share, basically what you will have is a link. And you can take that link and just copy it and paste it in any environment. So in the case of Zoom, you'll use the chat. So initially I said you could use the chat to share links, you could share files, you could share whatever you want. You could just use the link onto your chat and you'll be able to do a share screen. So Kev, you ready to roll the next one? Can you throw someone out of the meeting? Definitely yes.
Yes, you can.
You can put people out of the meeting. You could block people from coming back in and so on. All our security features that you would have.
Yeah, but set up your security settings from before. That's always vital. So the video I posted, the last one, get familiar with the security settings on your Zoom, and those translate directly into your app. So it's like, once you set those as defaults, it'll always be there. You can always make changes according to the session that you're in, who's in the session, if it's more mature class or more mature people, etc. Okay, so we're going to look at how to schedule, launching a new meeting from two sources, from the WhatsApp, from using your from your website, and from using the app. Okay, it's almost the same when you reach a certain point.
All right, so let's move on to the next video. See, I'll look at that time. The file is very important.
Yeah, video's up.
To start a meeting from the web, find your meetings and schedule meetings. Click Start. Now the client is automatically going to load for you. So just find the client wherever it has downloaded on your system. So I found the client, run as administrator, and let it install. It'll take a few seconds, depending on the speed of your system. Right, installation is done. Right, so it'll try to connect now, and that's it. So Zoom has been installed successfully on your system. If you look at the bottom, you'll see controls, some icons. Those are the controls for Zoom, for the Zoom client. Everything you need to run the meeting is located below here. And that's it.
Right, so I'm also going to run the second meeting, how to set it up and make those changes from your app. Right, remember, place your questions in the chat. Let me know what's going on.
So we click sign in. That'll take us to our sign in screen where we put our email and the password. I like to click keep me signed in, and we connect. We go to meetings, click on meetings. So on the left we'll see all the meetings that we have set up previously or scheduled. So we want to go and look at some features here. So first is delete, where I can delete whatever meeting is selected on the left hand side. Edit, I could change time and date or any other details for that meeting. And then copy invitation, where I can use that invitation and send it via email or WhatsApp to my my intended guests. But for now we're going to click start. When I click start, it's going to bring me into the actual Zoom room, and that's it. So you're all set. Meeting is up and running.
Great, so that is just quickly how to launch meetings, schedule meetings, and stuff like that. So you can see what's on your computer is the same that would be on your phone. Those of you having mobile devices could probably attest to that. Good question. Should you always set up recordings of the meetings initially, or can it be done during? Yeah, definitely. You could set up. I have it on as default, and it records to my system. If you're doing sessions, it's good for two reasons. You could see where you did wrong if you're doing a playback, and if anybody missed the session, you could actually forward them that video link. The actual video itself. Right. Yes, our videos will be on YouTube.
While you're reading that, someone is asking if you could start your record button during the meeting. Definitely yes. During the meeting, you just click on record and it will start. It's available in the free version. Someone asked if the breakout room is available in the free version. The answer is yes. But unless you open the breakout room in your settings, like the video Kevin had showed. But Kevin, you showed that one yet? No?
Yeah, that was in the settings.
Right. You must turn it on in your settings, and then you will see it as an option to turn virtual room on and off.
Someone is asking, can the host mute all? Yes, there's a mute all feature. As the host, you can mute everyone coming in. Like I said, you could set it up. What we prefer, like set up those things from before. So you know when people are coming in, everybody's going to be with their video off and everybody's going to be muted. So you don't have to be scrambling now to try to turn off people when they come in and they're not very prepared. You're going to get that happening all the time.
Right, a quick couple set of things there, because in the interest of time, what we're going to do is we'll be posting a whole bunch of videos, and each one will be small steps. How to do breakout room, how to schedule meetings, how to do all the how-to-dos. Now, I did post the file here, RSC links. I just shared it. If you download that file, it has the links for the meeting. So it has the links for next week sessions, It has the link so you could go into the channel and look at these videos. Bear in mind, even Zoom and any platform you're using, whether it's Microsoft Teams, Google, whatever, if you go to the help, you go to their resources, there are a series of small videos that you can just work with and be able to then expand your knowledge base and experience. What is really important, especially in a platform like Zoom, the first couple times, try it without anybody. Just try it by yourself, run your meeting, record it, watch yourself for a 2-minute, 3-minute meeting and see exactly how thing goes. I'm sorry we can't cover all the features in Zoom in a session because time is really running fast on us. But the idea today was to help you to improve your presentation skills, understanding that there is a fear factor in the beginning, you gotta get over that. And by practice, we'll be able to look better, see better, hear better. Someone is asking if you could do a virtual conference in Zoom. The thing is, once you get the hang of it, you can do almost anything you want because it's the closest next step towards having people live with you. So feel free to download that file. Kevin, is any closing questions? I don't know if the president of CAPS, he should have been in to just say a quick hi, Mr. Ronald Mutu. I don't know if Mr. Curtis Graves is there or Donna Bertrand, anyone who's representing CAPS to do a quick wrap-up message. But just to let you know, next week we're going to focus a lot on being interactive. So we're hoping you build some content. We're hoping now that at least you try a couple presentation thing, but that don't mean you have the students engaged. What are the tips and tricks? What are the little backup tools we can use to increase that engagement? Because there are schools in Trinidad that is having 95% turnout to their sessions, and there are schools that are having 5% turnout to their sessions. I'm not saying that it's based on student or school or you or anything else, but how can we maximize what is happening? And the idea behind our strategy is to make sure whenever we become normal again, which we'll never become, that all the tips and tricks and everything else we learn can be an improved environment. Quick promotion. If you know anyone who's over 18 years old, we are having a session on the IBM Call for Code tomorrow. IBM Call for Code is a competition, and I think the Caribbean needs to step up in that. Anybody who's over 18, you have good ideas on climate change or COVID or whatever, the first prize is $200,000 US. Join us in our webinar tomorrow where the head of IBM Call for Code, Shari, is going to be presenting on it. Any tertiary students, anybody who's into IT, anybody who's into climate, anybody who's into stuff like this, listen to it. Who knows? Maybe we could put a few teams together from the Caribbean and stamp. Any other questions, Kev, or we going to wrap up? I'm not seeing hand up by Ronald or anyone else.
No. One thing, a little tip that I did in setting up the Zoom meeting, I have my laptop. So I had the Zoom on laptop, and I also had the app on my phone. So by myself, I mean, not that I don't have friends, but I was able to set up that Zoom meeting and run certain features just using my phone and my laptop. So that's a little trick you could try if you want to experiment on yourself, by yourself.
All right, so basically,
questions, but
okay, great. So thank you so much for joining us. And remember, we'll be sending out invitations for next week's sessions. I know I got a couple of messages that people are not getting the invites. Make sure to check your spam and your promotion, because a lot of times the email go into the spam and promotion. So double check those, and if you do get the invite for the next meeting, feel free to share it with all your friends. So thank you so much for joining us again.
Now, we did show a Zoom blooper in the beginning with distractions. That has been a hit video. And if you go online and search Zoom bloopers, you'll see a whole bunch of them. I'm going to run the whole thing out as we wrap up. I will leave chat open for a while. We'll be answering questions. It's been a great session with you all once more. Look at the replays and let us know how else we can help. RSC, restore a sense of ICANN. We're a non-profit organization. We're based in Trinidad, but we do have our technology clubs across the region. We do activities in Bahamas and Belize. We've done stuff in Barbados, Jamaica, St. Vincent, Grenada, and we're expanding. So let us work together so that we'll be able to help each other so that we can not just get over what is happening now, but we can expand our technology. Kev, any closing words just to bring up the video?
Oh, no. We have a lot of little questions that will be answered. Like I said, once you start using the Zoom, you will realize, okay, well, I can figure out stuff. And then you could probably teach us a few things.
Right. And you can feel free to private message Kevin anytime. He is very helpful. Kev, I don't know how you handle 500 people private message, but we at RSC, we have a whole bank of tech support people who would support you and help you as much as we can. So it's been all good. See you all next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. The link has been up on the file. You already have the link. Replay link will be sent as an email to everyone tomorrow. So if you don't receive the email, check your spam, check your promotion folders, or just message us. So
excuse me, Raj, just to cut you across, this Bertrand is in if you want us to bring in.
Oh, definitely, yes. It's a hand up.
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children's just walked in. I mean, shifting.
All right, cool. So whilst we are waiting to get her in, the thing is, the Caribbean Association of Principals and RSC, we work closely together in a lot of projects in the region. Ms. Donna Marie Bertrand, she's the secretariat of the association. She's actually the, I don't know if you would correct what is outgoing, but she just left the outgoing president of the Caribbean Association of Principals. And hopefully she'll join us to say a quick hello. While she's doing that, one of the projects that we would like to do is, we would like to form a community of teachers in the region. Like, for example, if you have any teachers who are slightly techie, come on tomorrow and let us put a team of teachers that are going to compete in the IBM Call for Code. I mean, the prizes are really good. The MIT Solve prizes, which we also hosting. You all must have heard of MIT. RSC is co-hosting the MIT Solve in the Caribbean. Prizes are also really good. So it's time for us as teachers and even as administrators to start getting involved in these things and also start getting some personal benefits, because you win the prize money is yours. Is she in as yet? Almost not there.
I'm not sure. I sent her the request. So
all right, someone is asking what is the link for tomorrow. It is in the same file that you would have downloaded. If you didn't download it, please download the file. The link for tomorrow is placed in that file, so you can join us. That session starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and it is being done by IBM.
Yeah, to find that link, look right at the bottom of your chat, the chat box. You should see a kind of light blue. That'll be the link to download.
Yep. And I'm seeing you're active in the chat, but you're tech enough to be co-hosting this session. I said that last week already. So I'm hoping you'll join us. I'm seeing Mr. Leon Nanan in here from the CAPS retirees. Mr. Leon Nanan, you should also be coming on live now and then and speaking. I think Donna joined your room, did she? Yes,
yes, she is.
Mm-hmm. I'm also seeing Patricia here. Patricia, you're supposed to be co-hosting these sessions with us. Donna, can you hear us?
Yes, no.
Are you coming on video or you're just bringing greetings off it?
I'll just bring greetings off.
Okay, so all yours.
So congratulations everyone for participating in this wonderful session that RSC has facilitated today. CAPS is delighted to be involved in bringing training to the Caribbean so that we can all be more familiar with ways to interact with each other, not just through COVID, but post-COVID. We are very excited about what Raj and RSC is doing, and we feel that this is the way to go forward. So thank you very much for being on board. Remember to bring other people on board to share what we have learned so that we could continue to grow as a people across the Caribbean so that we can strengthen our relationships and be better able to serve our students. Thank you very much, Raj and RSC. Thank you so much for hosting these sessions. They are really very, very valuable. Every one that I attend, I learn something more. And Kevin, you have been wonderful. And I know Amrit has in the background as well. Thank you, guys. Coming from CAPS.
All right.